Alrighty, welcome into episode 21 of the Sports Ramble Podcast. As always, it's Matthew Wagner, Trey Williams, and my friend buddy Mr. Garrett over there. We're going to be talking about some things today. First off, if you haven't noticed by now, we're going to be talking about the Four Nations face-off, the USA versus Canada, their first game, and then they play tonight later at 7 p.m. in Boston Garden in TD Garden. The first game saw 3 fights in a matter of 21 seconds. Did I think that was going to happen? I expected at least one fight. I didn't expect 3. To be completely honest with you, I did not expect 3. But did you guys watch that? Or I'm sure you guys have seen clips of that. The
Well,
fight.
yeah, I thought it was
What was your
like,
takes on it?
let's put it like this. If Canada disrespects our national anthem, oh yeah, we're throwing hands. Like we're gonna drop the gloves and we're throwing hands. Let's go. Like not like the puck thing, the puck dropping and everyone started throwing hands. That's why I was like, you know what, it's personal. That's why I was like, okay, yeah, that's what we gotta set the tone. That's what they did. They set the tone for the game.
That's expected tonight for sure, setting the tone. However, there are a couple of notable injuries. Brady Kachuk, might not be playing tonight. If you don't know, obviously you guys don't know who that is. I'm sure maybe Garrett might know, but that's fair. A couple other guys are out as well, but I mean, being the hockey guy here, I know everything there is to know about that. And even after this, we have a playoff game for men's league tonight at 10 p.m. Thank God it's at 10 p.m. because there's the other games at like 8:45. So I'm like, they're not gonna be able to watch the whole game. So I'm like, I'm glad mine's at 10. I'll take it. I'll take a late game. Honestly, I'll take it as long as I get to watch the USA Canada game. Honestly, but Garrett, what was your take on if you watched the clips of the fights?
Well, you mentioned like the fights happening. I think that's one of the best. I didn't watch it personally, but growing up, playing like hockey NHL games on video games, that was always the best part. Watching NHL as well. Even I had no idea what they were doing. I just knew that they were allowed to fight, and it was technically legal, more legal than other sports. But no, I think fighting is it adds entertainment. I mean, because like with football, you fight and you get ejected, and that's it. But hockey, you just get a little timeout and then you're back in.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. No, I agree, and that's why I think hockey is, and this is why I'm glad. I know a lot of people when this was announced, a lot of the hockey community was like, "Oh, why not the All-Star game? We should do the All-Star game, the skills challenges they do, kind of like what the NBA does." We'll be talking about the NBA All-Star game, the dunk contest, why they had such low viewership. Then we'll also go to men's and women's basketball, college hoops. But the reason I think this tournament is doing so well or has done so well is because it introduces hockey to a viewership to a global audience. You're seeing what hockey is about. You're not seeing, obviously the fights are a big part of it that brings people in, but you're also seeing the hitting. You're also seeing it's best on best. It's kind of like the NBA All-Star game, but instead of the guys going half speed and not really trying, everyone you're playing for your country and you're freaking trying to throw a guy into the boards, and you're not trying to put him into the boards, you're trying to put him through the boards and put him up in the upper deck. So that is why I think it's been so, and it reached a brand new viewership. 4.4 million people tuned in to watch the first U.S. Canada game, and there's this purportedly a record 5.2 million potential to tune in for tonight's game. So the numbers are huge.
Yep. See, and that's the problem with the NBA All-Star game because, like, hey, they're doing half speed and then they're not really caring and it's ruining the product and like the purpose of the All-Star game. And what hockey's doing is brilliant. Like,
Yeah.
Pretty much like what they're doing is globalizing the game of hockey, and hockey is known for for USA and Canada. That's like people like casual like sports fans, like they just know like either Canada or USA like has like a hockey team. But now like they're trying to globalize it, which is smart, and like showing like all the physicality of a hockey game and the intense like down to the wire, like last minute, like overtime games. Oh yeah, it's really entertaining. What Garrett says, it's really entertaining, and it's gonna bring that entertainment value to the NHL, which is like is gonna do good. It's gonna go good, like for them. So, but yeah,
It also kind of feels as though it's the they didn't have good viewership last year with the All-Star game for the NBA and the NHL. They didn't have good viewership for both of them. So the NHL was like, all right, what if we haven't done like an international competition since 2016, the World Cup of Hockey. So they were like, well, let's do that. But, obviously the four nations because they exclude. I don't know. I personally, I would rather do another World Cup of Hockey because you could have the Czechs in there. You could have a different country. Obviously, I don't think they would include Russia, but I would love to see them include Russia, just because there's a lot of hockey players that are really good that aren't getting to play. But that's me. It's one another. But the NBA All-Star Game posts one of the worst viewership records, as well as the dunk competition. And don't get me wrong, but I watched part of the dunk competition. I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was okay. It really wasn't that obviously it wasn't too bad. I mean, Garrett, what did you thought?
I think a lot of what it is, for me personally at least, is like you mentioned, the NHL. They're passionate about it. Like they're going like to the walls, But NBA, LeBron tweaked his ankle, and he's like, "Nah, I'm done. I'm not gonna play," because like he thinks he is so above everything. I mean, he's the best player in the world right now, but he's getting paid millions of dollars to play. And when you do this and then sit out, it brings those viewership numbers down. And it's not just him; it's a bunch of like the really good stars that choose not to play, or choose to play half speed and take it as a joke. And so I think to get the numbers back up, especially the dunk competition, include like high profile players. I'm talking like LeBron, KD, not Mac McClung. Mac McClung is amazing. He's a crazy good dunker, but like he's been in the G League. Who's gonna watch him? I mean, like why would you want to? But seeing LeBron go at it, KD, I mean, maybe like Steph, it might be interesting trying to see him try and dunk. I don't know. Just like some of the best players in the world trying to dunk against each other. I think that'd be great.
What I saw on Twitter, John Morant tweeted out, might as well just do it. Because John Morant, he could fly. Mm-hmm. And Aaron Gordon, and Zach LaVine, they did pretty much like the best dunk contest like in history in 2016. And they might, because like Aaron Gordon, they're older, but they still got some juice left. Yeah. So here's my thing: to make viewership like really better, like really good for the NBA, get like stars playing, doing the skills, doing like all like the skills challenges. Do the three. I know the 3-point contest is like all like the good shooters. The dunk contest, get all like the good like players, not like young players that like people don't know about. Yeah, get all the good like stars in the league that can dunk, and just like that, and look all the viewership. It'll increase because now people players nowadays, they have such a high ego. They have an ego problem. All the players have an ego problem. I was like, I don't want to do this because I'm too good for that. All right, okay, because the viewership's gonna go plummeted. And it's gonna show because this generation of players is ruining the purpose of the All-Star game.
Yeah, no, I agree, and my dad's in the background, but ignore that. Another thing about the NBA All-Star game that I would have said is look back at some of the early 2000s games. Watch guys like Kobe, LeBron when he was in 09. Look at MJ in the early 2000s or late 90s. Those games were played at a higher yes, it was still kind of half speed, but they were still playing to their best ability. and making each other look good. And so now it just feels like they're just like, oh yeah, lob up a thing. It's a big joke. You saw that with Wemby and Chris Paul cheating to try to, which I thought was actually smart.
I hated that.
I thought it was kind of funny.
It was supposed to be funny, but at the same time, looking back, it was like, bro, just do it. I mean, it's corny. It has that corny funny. It was like some people like don't like that corny funny stuff.
Yeah, though, Chris Paul roped Wemby into that for sure. It was all Chris Paul's idea. There's no shot Wemby came up with that by himself.
And speaking of Wembanyama, he's been ruled out as of today for the rest of the season. So, there goes the Spurs season, man.
Blood clot. I mean, it's not like laughing matter, but it's like so like.
But blood, you can't,
because I don't remember him getting hurt at all. I think Brandon Ingram, like in 2018, 2019, had the same injury, in his right shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's like, I mean, he missed like 19 games, and so like I don't want Wembanyama to be like a what if type of player, because he's like the next NBA superstar in this league, and like I hope like he does really good in his career. I just don't want him to be like a what if type of player, like just like injuries like catch up to him.
Yeah,
it's like 7'4". He's 7'4", and like the way like, his stature is like is just bound to, like his body's gonna break down. It sucks. That's the reality.
He's getting Zion before our very eyes.
Don't say that.
Hey, but Zion turned out he's doing well this year.
Yeah.
When he plays. Yeah, key part when he plays.
Yeah, but he's still doing when he's not. He's still doing good, even though he's.
Oh yeah, he's. I mean, he's. I'm just getting Zion stuff like.
Yeah.
But
hey, at least you trade for AD and you didn't trade for Zion. That's all that matters.
If you trade for Zion, I'm.
Oh man.
Oh my. I just got a headache thinking about that. If Nico did that.
Oh my god.
I know Zion's good, but. Lord, he's about to set us back.
Well, last time we reconvened on this podcast, we talked about how each day it feels like the trade is getting worse. Now it really is starting to hit home that this trade is not working out in the way that it looked like it could have.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because here's my thing. Because I saw the Laker game with Luka. Bro looks still hurt. I know, because I watched every Maverick game with Luka. And I know I can tell when bro's healthy and when he's not. He's still like the calf is still bothering him. And first of all, it doesn't help that he's on a new team. He's still trying to adjust. And whenever he doesn't have the ball, he's just there. And then of course, like whenever he shoots a lot of threes. And when it's not hitting, it's gonna look bad. So that's why he's shooting the way he's shooting right now, because he's trying to get himself back in rhythm. And when the shots start going down, everyone's gonna be quiet. Yeah. So I'm still gonna root for Luka. It sucks he's not gonna be in a Dallas uniform anymore. But here's my thing: whenever you take talent's gonna like evolve with talent. Because I know it's his second game, actually his third game in a Laker uniform. Because like. Everyone's saying like, "Oh, is Luka washed? Oh my God, is Luka washed?" Like, he's still trying to ease back into it, and like he's still probably in shell shock, being traded to the Lakers.
Yeah,
and so like he's just trying to get back to himself. And then I remember whenever LeBron went to Miami, his first year, they didn't do good like at all in the first year and a half. And then they won the championship the year after because Dwayne Wade was like, "Hey, you take the keys and you take us home to the promised land."
Yeah,
that's what LeBron has to do with Luka. Luka, here, take the keys to the team, and I'm still gonna be me. You be you, and you pretend like you're gonna be like the best player in the league. For the Lakers and let's go win another championship.
Yeah.
That's what I want him to do. That's like.
Yeah, and if they do end up winning a championship. It looked great for the LA, obviously not great for Dallas. But speaking of that, of winning, and that college basketball has a bit of an issue with people storming the court and people being
Ain't no
fined
wrong
for
with
that.
that. It's fun.
Did you guys see that clip of the athletic director like walking? I love that. That is awesome. Please do not storm the court. Thank you. I was like, dude, they're gonna if they okay. I understand them not doing it against because they're playing number 4 ranked team.
Yeah.
But if they did against number 1, you're not gonna stop those kids.
No.
Yeah, I think one of the SEC coaches proposed that if you win the game and then you storm the court, it's you forfeit the game. And he said that would stop it once and for all because you're not going to storm the court and forfeit a game that you just won, beat the number 1 team in the country.
Yeah, I agree with that rule, but the only problem with that rule where it gets dicey is March Madness because it's like, say a team wins the championship and they storm the court. How do you know who are the students and who are just regular fans? That's where it gets kind of dicey.
Yeah, you'd have to like impose like during conference play or something.
Yeah,
like
something
that.
like that. Yeah, but no,
Yeah.
I think a lot of teams now are starting to really ramp up for March because again we're just right around the corner from that. And one team has been surprising to me that obviously they're always going to be good, but could they make a run? Is the women's Texas women's team? They're pretty good,
Oh yeah.
but
LSU.
their main issue is their
LSU.
bench. Their main issue is their bench. They don't have really good, like a lot of their bench are like sophomores, freshmen. They don't have like a real good like thing that I'm looking at. I'm like, oh yeah, this person can really go. She can really go far in this. But man, I don't know. It's always a crapshoot when you talk about March Madness.
Yeah, they just have a couple star players. Their point guards, I believe, are what's been carrying them to this like new heights that they've reached this year.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure the brackets will come. I'm debating whether or not to do a bracket because if I do a bracket, I always pick the underdog teams. That always seems to like everyone's like when I pick St. Peter's one year and obviously they went on their deep run. I picked one of those. I always pick like the one. I always pick the one team that's like really good, and I always pick one team that's like supposed to be the underdog. So I don't even know if it's even worth doing it this year.
Well, it's weird because like this year you can pick UConn as the underdog in guys basketball, and it would be right.
Exactly, and they won last year.
Yeah, right. This year has been so weird for both women's and men's. The stereotypical teams that you would think that are at the top, Kentucky, Kansas, Duke. I'm probably missing a couple. UConn, they're not at the top, and it's really interesting. That's on the guys' side, and then the girls' side, you think about South Carolina, just lost to UConn, got blown out by UConn. UConn is making their way back up to the top. Texas is at the top. It's just a lot of parity, and I think it's great for college basketball. I think in the past, especially women's basketball, it's been dominated by UConn, and then the recent history was dominated by South Carolina. So I love to see the parity in that. I don't know how y'all guys feel about that.
No, yeah, I Trey, I'm sure you can agree with me on this, but
yeah,
I like the ideas of having the teams that are like the usual dominant, teams are near the middle, and that makes it more exciting, I think, in terms of viewership and for March Madness because you're like, oh man, this UConn team, man, you can't underestimate them. They're they're right around the middle, so it's like any team could, any mid team could take out a top tier team, and I think if you're near the top, it's a little bit hard. For whatever reason, I always feel like if you're like number 1, 2 seed, it's always a little bit harder to get to that Final Four. Even the Elite Eight, it's hard to get to. But so, I remember. I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was a proposal that the NBA, the NCAA finals, the final 2 teams, there should be a 3-game series. And I'm like, I like the idea, but that's hard because it's so much basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and they're still students at that point.
Exactly.
And still in school. But yes, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea, but yeah, if they weren't in school, great idea.
Mm-hmm.
It'll help with viewership wise, But at the same time, because like the past couple of national championship games for the men's, no one's been watching it like at all.
Right.
It has been like because like there's like nothing to look forward to, or is like I was like, oh, like none of the teams I picked won, like so there's no need to. And
I think
plus, like here's
the
like
last one I watched was. I want to say the last one I watched was the San Diego State when San Diego State made it to the finals.
Hmm.
It's the last game I watched.
Okay.
because the last I watched some of the last year, so it was a good game, but at the same time, it was like, well,
Yeah,
it was just on. It wasn't like, oh, I gotta watch this. It was on, It's kind of like background, like TV's on in the background, kind of like game.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's my thing. Like, it's just both the men's and the NBA got to fix their product before, like, whenever it comes to, like, viewership, like, entertainment value, because, like, it's stinking up, like, it's really bad right now. Because I did not want to hear Kevin Hart the whole entire time during the All-Star game. And that aggravated me. Because, like, you saw, like, SGA, he's at the free throw line, and bro's telling Kevin Hart, like, hey, man, like, shut up. Please, like, go do your thing. Yeah, I'm just trying to shoot. I'm just trying to play the game. Because they stopped the game, the All-Star game, to do presentation for TNT and all the guys. Like, Shaq, Ernie Johnson, Kenny Smith, and Charles. That was really so unnecessary. It kind of like it checked me out of the game as a viewer. It's like, why stop the game? And like even the players were like, we should change the format. I don't know why we did. I don't know. I kind of like the format, but at the same time, like just go back to two teams, East versus West. Please give some effort, and don't like change like the entertainment value. And like, because Mr. Beast.
Oh man!
Like I don't want to turn on my TV and like go on like and see Mr. Beast. Like, bro, like I don't want to see him. Go on YouTube or something. Like, go like do something else. Because like, and what's crazy, I saw an NBA executive said, "Oh, like Mr. Beast might be valuable to the NBA viewership." No, he ain't. No NBA fan is gonna turn on the TV just for Mr. Beast.
No,
none. Okay, here's my thing. Because they're going to like NBA streamers, like NBA 2K streamers, like do like the NBA like dunk contest. I'd like go as a guest or like pretty much like as a judge. Because I remember Jesser, he was one of the judges for the NBA dunk contest. And everyone was like, why is he here? Yeah. Even though he was an NBA 2K content creator, but at the same time, like I do agree. We should bring some legends out or like some current players to do the like NBA, be like NBA like dunk contest judges. Like, like it makes sense. Yeah. That's what they did back in the day.
It doesn't hurt.
Yeah, like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And guess what? It wasn't broke, but they did some tweaks.
But they smashed the crap out of it with a hammer.
Yep, because the reason why they changed it up because the whole KD thing that happened like years ago, and the West was so stacked, and the East was like really weak. That's why they changed the whole format in the first place, and then with the whole like Team LeBron, Team Steph thing started.
Did you see Trey? Did you see the thing where KD was telling fans to switch over to hockey if they don't want to watch the NBA? I was just like, dude, are you? And how many times has this happened to KD where he gets his feelings hurt and then he's got to defend himself? You remember when he made the burner accounts?
He needs to know when to talk and when not to, because like it's just starting to like look really bad. Cause shoot, like even like I mean I know Kyrie had his thing back in the day where like bro like do not let bro near a microphone ever. Now it's like he's taking like being supportive to the Mavericks now. Like he's pretty much like the one dude I really want to talk like hey Kyrie say this about the Mavericks. he actually is going like he grew up like his was like responsibility as like a man and a basketball player. He grew on me, and like NBA fans should like start to like him now. And whenever like his days in Brooklyn, whenever like he was every like day he was like in some controversy.
Yeah.
Different market.
And the other thing, if going back to what Gary was saying, LeBron, I got a bone to pick with you. if you knew you weren't gonna play, don't like just say that a week in advance. Don't say it right before the All-Star game, because that's when people are gonna be like really like pissed off at you. Because people already paid to see you and Steph and KD play on the same team. Because they didn't have a chance to go to France to watch Team USA. They watched it on TV, but they have a chance to watch it in person. And guess what? You kind of ruined it because your ego again. I mean, I get it. Like you were hurt, and I know. Like I was like, oh, like you got hurt, but at the same time, like you could have just told them in advance. People don't have to waste their money.
Yeah.
For something like you only get to see LeBron in street clothes.
Yeah, exactly. And the picture looked just terrible. But that's why I always say like hockey is one of the toughest sports. Because if you gave a hockey player the same injury that LeBron has, they would still play through it. Like that's one thing I always say. That's why I like the game of hockey is because you see these guys, the soccer players and these basketball players, heck, even football players go down with toe turf and they get hurt by touching themselves basically, and it's like a hockey player has literally pulled out. I watched a video. He pulls out his tooth, hands it to the trainer, and then gets right back out there. It's like if an NBA player did that, he'd be out for his life. He'd retire.
Nah, like so a simple like ankle. I mean, I know it was like an ankle twist, like twist an ankle. That's different. You don't want to play with that.
Yeah,
but like it's like simple like stuff like that. You could play through it. Like especially like if that injury happened during playoffs. Oh yeah, dang well LeBron's gonna play through it.
Yes,
playoffs, different ball game. Because that's why like you saw like last year, everyone was giving like crap to Luka. Bro was in like wrapped up, like knees were all messed up, knees were bleeding, had a messed up rib. So everyone was still giving him crap. So I'm like sitting here like they don't know that bro's going through it. And
I didn't like though how he put his life on the line for the NBA championship, and then that's what really made me didn't dislike Nico Harrison was because he's like talked about how he wasn't tough and he's like his dedication. It's like, dude, he's the main reason why you guys got as far as you did.
Yeah, and I don't know like how I don't know how this season's gonna go for us as Mavericks team this year. But yeah, that trade did hurt, and Luka gave his body up on the line. Pretty much, he was playing hurt the whole time. I know, like you don't want to say, oh, like don't put like don't want to say like oh injuries, like oh the excuses. Bro was actually playing hurt. He had a cracked rib, a messed up knee. Both of his knees were messed up. His ankle was like messed up too. So he was like pretty much playing like in a whole like body cast, and they were expecting him like I know like his defense in the NBA Finals wasn't the best, but look, it happens. It was his first NBA Finals. He's probably gonna be in some more in his career, but hey, he's gonna know like how to get back there because it's gonna take like he's already been there before last year. He knows what it takes to get back there. So
yeah, and that is how it has to be, and if you know how it's gonna, your dedication to the game is gotta, it's a we versus me. So that's the mindset.
Model.
It's the mindset you gotta have. So with that, we're kind of around our time here. Kind of felt like a quick episode, but hey, that's sometimes how we do it here on the Sports Ramble Podcast. For Trey, my buddy Garrett, I'm Matthew Wagner. Guys, we'll see you next time, and I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about next time, especially there's a couple stories, especially March Madness coming around the corner, especially with the NBA season starting to ramp up with the trade deadline pass. for baseball too, and some of the big signings we'll get into that as well. But we'll see you next time, guys.